And so, now the forces of the Republic of China have massed on the Yalu River, and they are ready to destroy the international outlaw regime of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The invasion, as you can see, is currently being prepared and is going to be underway in a matter of not much. So, what's going to happen is that we will finally bring justice for the Korean exiled government, which, if you remember, we have in our midst. We have welcomed to the glorious Republic of China, the glorious Republic of Korea, clearly a brother nation, usurped by the evil Communist Party, just like our own problems with communism. The Koreans have to be liberated from the scourge, and well, we are the ones who are gonna do it.
就是要建设我们一个民有、民治、民享的新的中国。
Today, the Chinese government announced a liberation campaign in Korea by declaring war on the newly formed leftist government. Already, the Chinese have declared their intentions to install the Korean Liberation Government in charge of the peninsula. So the Liberation War has officially started. And we're gonna throw everything we've got at Seoul in hopes of destroying this regime. So Operation Korean Freedom is now a go, and the Korean army itself is really not that substantial, although they do have a good amount of men. It is not an insanely high troop count, and so I hope that we can very, very easily push down into the enemy. Now, of course, we've got to do a bit of an Incheon landing behind the enemy lines, and this is going to net us Pyongyang, of course. And we've also got troops going into Jeju Island just for the kicks, just to distract the enemy a little bit. And now our other forces can jump in from the mainland and link up with them and march on Seoul, which is the basic plan. And now our troops are connected to our mainland, which is obviously what we wanted all along. So, the invasion, liberation is proceeding smoothly. We are right next to Seoul. We're in the suburbs in Incheon. Our troops are moving through the western side of the peninsula where the terrain is more adequate, while on the eastern side we are tying down some Korean forces, trying to prevent them to come to the coming to the aid of the other contingents. And that's fine. However, what is going on? Oh no. So the Japanese have intervened, in the Korean War, and now they're going to be trying to defend their ally, or their newfound ally. And of course, this is just yet another machination of Japanese red imperialism to bring down the Chinese people, which we shall have to bring down mercilessly. And that's gonna spice things up, because the Koreans were dying to us, while the Japanese are going to be another matter entirely. The Japanese have a modern army, and so, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to defeat them. Now, the Japanese have decided to deploy sort of all along the front line, and that's obviously a terrible idea. And so we're gonna try to snatch Seoul from behind their backs, and maybe cut them off at Wonsan, which then is going to cut off an entire Japanese and Korean army group up north, in the wild northeast of Korea. So there goes Seoul. The glorious National Revolutionary Army has entered Seoul and re-established the rightful Korean government, of course, because that's clearly our final objective in this whole endeavor. And now the entire Japanese army is, well, mostly surrounded. Well, maybe not the entire Japanese army, but most of the Japanese forces are surrounded. Excellent. So, a ton of Japanese troops and Koreans have been cut off in Wonsan and in the central highlands, thanks to a great encirclement. Reddit, please rate my encirclement. Give me upvotes. And, yeah. So, hopefully... Rocket. So hopefully this is the beginning of the end of the Japanese army in the north. And after I've cleaned up this whole mess up here, I'm gonna turn my eyes on Busan and make the final push to clear out Korea once and for all. Excellent. So with the Japanese army about to be cleared from the mountains entirely, now troops can be redeployed to southern operations. And very, very soon, Seoul will be in our hands entirely, and Busan also. So, plan of attack is pretty simple. Honestly, I see that these guys up here have decided to be stupid and not protect their flanks. So I'm going to abuse that fact and attack with these troops towards the southwest. Sorry, southeast. And surround these 5 enemy divisions. Of course, the Japanese are going to try to counterattack with their mechanized troops in my side. Light self-propelled artillery template. Interesting. And I'd made kind of a mistake. I advanced a little bit too quickly, but got enough troops to cover up that mistake. And now these guys are in a very, very big pickle because they are completely cut off. And up in the north, we're about to finally destroy the rest of the combined army group. So far, we have 300,000 casualties on the enemy and 100,000 on the Chinese side. Alright, unfortunately, the Japanese have been able to break out of the encirclement, because they're still a very, very strong army. They've got some good troops, and so I'm gonna need to bring down the army that has just finished clearing the northeast of enemy forces down to bring a finishing blow on the enemy. Now, it looks like it's very possible that this is going to end up in a kind of stalemate, because these Japanese divisions are just like ridiculous, especially these like light tanks. There's something else. So I'm gonna need to try to find out how exactly I can break this stalemate. Because I definitely don't want to be stuck in here for months on end. Although it is very, very weird that they're just able to hold on like that. Yeah, it turns out it's the fact that they are well armored. Now, I don't think we really have, like, anti-tank. Though we do actually have anti-tank, so what the fuck? Why am I not giving anti-tank to my divisions? I have no idea. It's because I'm being kind of dumb in my gameplay, apparently. Yeah, there we go. Anti-tank. That should help even things out quite massively. Although I'm not sure if it's gonna be enough to pierce their armor. Although, to be fair, we do have an excellent opportunity to attack Busan. So we're gonna just unleash a massive offensive and see what happens. In fact, now we can pierce the armor, so that should be a massive help. Although it's apparently not enough, because they've got this ridiculous defense value on their units. It's really, really insane defensive value. We even got the air superiority, so like this is just like ridiculous, apparently. All right, we took one province in this massive offensive. That's great. Oh, now they're gonna counterattack. This could be good, because the defense is going to be on our side now. Okay, so now that they're attacking us in another combat, we can push into here. We cannot push into the east, but we can push into the west. They've got 3 divisions fighting, so we should be able to overwhelm them. And yeah, it looks like it's gonna be one province at a time, really. This whole problem of the Japanese is gonna be resolved one province at a time. Although this is one of these issues. They are holding on for so long that they hold on for so long in a single province that they can bring up reinforcements, even if we can defeat them. Alright, so the situation is kind of stabilized, basically, along this front line. The Japanese pushed us back. We fought for a while in defensive combat. I'm not sure if I've shown any of it, but the Japanese really are exhausted now. We are also pretty exhausted, but I think I know exactly what to do now. So I've used Consolidate to reinforce some of my divisions. As you can see, there's 7 divisions where there was almost a full army here earlier. And now I'm gonna counterattack when they attack. And hopefully bring to bear a decisive push. Now this is definitely not going to fully work, but we're sure as hell going to try, essentially. In fact, in some of these areas, it's really impossible. But maybe, perhaps, I can take these highlands, finally. I mean, the Japanese have a lot of troops around there. This is really super annoying. We are not going to push in, unfortunately. It's kind of evolving into a sort of stalemate right now, and this is kind of a problemo, but there's really not much that I can do except... Ooh, this is promising. Okay, Busan is wide open. They are moving 1 division in. 1 single division. That's not a lot. It's not a lot. If I can survive their counterattack, and I'm not sure I can. In fact, we might just be able to take it right now. It looks like this combat is progressing very much in our favor. There's only infantry over here. And now that we've taken the port, they are a goner. And the entire Japanese army is going to be gone with it. So this is the time to attack and have no mercy for the Japanese devils. Because now they have no supplies. Or no supply line. They might still have supplies, but they have no supply line. Finally, it's over. They are trapped in one pocket, and finally, they have been reduced to nothing. 1.25 million casualties in total on the enemy side, and Korea is finally fully liberated. Now, Japan still has an army. So, next up, we're gonna have to take the war, finally, to Japan. I have read the reports, Father, of our great victory in Korea. A toast to you and to our army. Thank you, my son. However, our trials are not yet over. know this. What? How can the Japanese come back from this defeat? Our goals are what? They are out of Asia. They will never come back to haunt us. Ah, my son, you are truly naive in your youth. The Japanese will always come back unless we root the evil out at the source. What? Are you proposing? Yes, a full-scale invasion of the Japanese home islands. Only in this way can we make sure that the evil that is the nation of Japan is wiped clean from this earth. Too much have they destroyed, killed, and burned. No more redemption is possible for this nation. To ensure the safety and prosperity of the glorious Chinese nation, Japan itself must be eradicated.